when I got married, like I said, I had only turned 19. I was never interested. I was interested more in baking, I think, than cooking. I used to bake cookies and make fudge and bake cake, before I was married. I always liked to do that, but I never did actually cook. So consequently, when I got married, I didn't know how to cook. So I don't know. I would just get books and try recipes. Sometimes they'd turn out good, sometimes they didn't. Sometimes I didn't know what I was doing. And then I was hungry for sauce, because let's face it, that's our main basic thing, is it? Spaghetti. First of all, I'm going to start with a little olive oil in the pot. I'd say 3 to 4 tablespoons, or maybe about 1/4 of a cup. Don't need too much. Now I'm going to clean up this onion. Peel off the onion till it's nice and smooth there. Now I would also rinse this onion off before I cook with it. Toss the knife. Okay, then I have the little, just cut it in half. And sometimes I just go like this, the old-fashioned way, but today I'll just put it on the board. It'll be easier. I don't cut my finger off. It was a little bigger onion. It's a lot of onion, but that's okay. Okay, then I will put a little salt and pepper. I'm not measuring, I'm just doing a la carte. Okay, and I'm going to turn this on. Put it on kind of medium heat. So we got to let this saute for a little bit. You don't want it to get real brown, just soft. Okay, I'm also going to use just a little tiny bit of olive oil to brown that pork meat. We're not cooking this, we're just going to brown it off a little bit. Dad never liked his own mother's sauce. She made a real tart, almost sour tasting. He didn't like my mother's sauce either, although I thought my mom's sauce was better than his mom's sauce, but that's because I grew up on it, I guess. But he wasn't crazy about either recipe. So I just started experimenting with making it, like, well, do I use canned real tomatoes? Do I use tomato puree? Because now in cans they have, they have sauce, puree, chopped, whole. You're bewildered if you don't know what you're doing. Basically, that was when we had the store, so I could go down in the store and kind of experiment with different stuff. I don't know, I just would make it, and sometimes we'd like it, and sometimes we didn't like it. And I'd say, okay, I got to change this or change that. And then I finally started using the whole tomatoes in a can that you had to put in the blender to purify, to liquefy them. And I knew you had to put tomato paste to thicken it, because if you didn't put tomato paste, it'd just stay watery. Okay, I'm going to put just a little bit of salt and pepper on this meat. Not measuring, just to the eye. What would you say that? I don't know. good enough. Okay, this is fine. Just a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to put the tomato paste in, and this is kind of crucial because the tomato paste will burn real quick. That's why you want your flame low. Try to get it all out. And you got to stir it around. Mix it up with the onion. On low heat. And see when you start smelling that? Then you're going to add the juice. You see how you still got some juice? And I use every bit of it. What I do is I take this 12 ounces of water and put it in this can. Looks like we had just a little bit extra. It's okay. And then I need a spoon. Stir it up. You got all that tomato paste that's clinging. Try to get as much of it as you can mixed into the water. Then I dump it in this juice cooler. Just stir this around. I'm going to get all the, see how much juice still in there, clinging to the sides. You got to keep stirring this to get that paste incorporated. Okay, now we're going to let this come up to a little bit of the boil. Can't forget the sugar. That's the most important part. For years, I made it with those tomatoes, the whole tomatoes that I did in the blender. And then one day I was looking at that blender and it was full of tomato juice that I had just blended. And I thought, well, they sell tomato juice in the can. Why am I going through this step of liquefying these tomatoes and then I got to wash that darn blender? I thought, I'm going to try it with the cans of tomato juice and the tomato paste. And in the meanwhile, I had been experimenting with sugar, how much to put in, do you put any in? Well, if you don't put any, it's too tart. Put too much, it's too sweet. So I just trial and error. Well, now the sauce has come up to a bubble here. Doesn't have to be a rolling boil, just so it's starting to cook. And I give it a stir, and then I will put in this hamburger. And stir that. Okay. All right, now we'll let that cook a few minutes yet till it starts bubbling again, and then I'll put the pork meat in. During this part of the procedure here, you don't want your heat on high. You just want it sort of on a medium, not exactly low, but not high. See, now it's starting to bubble again. So now I'm going to put the pork in. Those were pretty good sized chunks, so just put it in and Stir it around again a little bit. And this is enough sauce probably for 2.5 pounds. 2 to 2.5 pounds of spaghetti. If you want more, you double the recipe. Just double everything. And then it's bubbling. Now, I don't want it to bubble real hard. I want it to keep it about like that. So, and then I take my lid, which is over here, and I put it not all the way on, because if you put it all the way on, water, the condensation will keep dripping in there and your sauce won't get thick. This way it has a chance to evaporate the condensation that forms in there, and the sauce gets nice and thick for you. And I finally got it the way I make it now. I don't know how many years ago, and that's the way I've made it ever since. I can tell you the recipe right off my head. A lot of it is after you get the experience of making it. Like, I can just go in there and make it. I don't measure anything. I don't, you know what I mean? I just know that's the way I make it, and everybody that eats it seems to like it. It cooked 1 hour and 45 minutes, and I just turned it off. So now I'm gonna put on a pot of water, and we're gonna cook some pasta and eat the sauce. Hopefully it will be good. Get most of the water out of it. Yeah, that's no way to do it. Easier this way.
Well, I guess that's it then. That's how you make the sauce.
That's it.
Except that secret ingredient you didn't tell me about, right?
I did. I tell you, there's no secret ingredient.
Well, I got the whole thing on video. I didn't see anything else.
I wouldn't lie. Would your grandmother lie?